In January 1963, General Motors killed racing for every division under its roof. One memo stripped Pontiac of the thing driving its sales: speed. Every division complied. Every executive fell in line, except one. Pontiac's chief engineer, John DeLorean, refused to let a corporate directive bury his brand. He found a loho in General Motors' own rulebook, and what he built with it would reshape American performance forever. On January 16, 1963, General Motors President James M. McDonald signed the Executive Directive that threatened to dismantle Pontiac's entire market identity. The memo ordered an immediate end to all factory-supported racing, cutting off the flow of specialized parts, technical assistance, and performance-based marketing. This policy directly disrupted Pontiac's established business model. Throughout the late 1950s and early 1960s, the division had built its brand on track dominance, using NASCAR victories and drag strip records to capture the attention of a younger, speed-hungry demographic. Without racing, they had no clear way to sell cars. McDonald's directive was driven by external pressures far removed from the showroom floor. Under Attorney General Robert Kennedy, the Justice Department was actively investigating General Motors for antitrust violations, raising the threat of a government-mandated corporate breakup. Combined with public concern over motorsport safety and the Automobile Manufacturers Association's push to de-emphasize speed, the General Motors Board chose self-preservation. By abandoning motorsport, corporate leadership hoped to appease federal regulators and project a conservative, responsible image. But in doing so, they stripped Pontiac of its primary sales engine, leaving dealers to face a highly competitive market with no way to back up their performance credentials. Pontiac's 37-year-old chief engineer, John DeLorean, refused to accept the loss of his division's identity. Where corporate leadership saw a regulatory shield, DeLorean saw a tech and nickel problem demanding a creative solution. He understood that while General Motors could lock Pontiac out of the racetracks, corporate officers could not easily control what happened on public roads. With the factory racing programs dismantled, DeLorean gathered his engineering team to draft a new strategy. He treated the restriction as a challenge, focusing the team on an alternative path to preserve their high-performance image. If they could no longer win on Sunday to sell on Monday, they would bring high performance directly to the showroom floor. The plan was to bypass sanctioning bodies entirely, shifting the battle for speed from NASCAR oval tracks to local stoplights. This forced a complete rethinking of how the division designed its product line. Instead of building low-volume, specialized racing machines for professional drivers, Pontiac had to develop mass-produced street cars that offered maximum performance to everyday buyers. The strategy focused on selling raw, straight-line AC acceleration straight off the dealership lot, giving young buyers track-level excitement without factory-backed racing teams. To make this happen, DeLorean and his team began hunting for a vulnerability in the corporate regulations. In the spring of 1963, Pontiac chassis engineer Bill Collins and engine specialist Russ G. gathered in the experimental department to test a physical hypothesis. The mid-sized Tempest Le Mans coupe, normally powered by a modest four-cylinder or small-block engine, sat on an assembly lift. Next to it was the division's heavy-duty 389 cubic-inch V8, a massive power plant typically reserved for full-size cruisers like the Catalina. Because Pontiac's engine block shared similar external dimensions, Collins realized the swap required no major structural redesign. The team bolted the 389 engine directly onto modified mounts inside the Tempest bay, reinforcing the rear crossmember and adding a dedicated transmission oil cooler to handle the sudden surge in torque. This experimental build, tracking under chassis number series 242370, immediately transformed the lightweight intermediate platform. Initial track evaluation at the Milford Proving Grounds validated the mechanical formula. The prototype delivered 325 gross horsepower, propelled by a 3-carburetor tri-power setup. Stripped of full-size weight, the hybrid machine achieved 0 to 60 acceleration in under 9 seconds during early validation runs. It was a stark contrast to the standard Le Mans, outperforming everything in its physical class. Before a single memo was routed to corporate headquarters, this beige development mule provided DeLorean with undeniable physical proof. The machine worked. General Motors' policy was clear. Intermediate-sized cars could not carry engines larger than 330 cubic inches. This corporate displacement-to-weight ratio was designed to keep mid-size vehicles sensible, safe, and distant from the drag strip. However, the exact phrasing of the directive contained a highly specific legal vulnerability. The 330 cubic inch cap applied strictly to the car's standard base engine. It made no mention of OP-Tinal equipment. DeLorean and his team realized they did not need to fight corporate policy. They just had to read it more precisely than the executives who wrote it. By keeping the modest 326 V8 as the standard engine for the Tempest Le Mans, they remained in perfect compliance with the letter of the law. They then classified the massive 389 cubic inch V8 as an optional upgrade, packaged under option code K01. This administrative maneuver transformed a banned, rogue prototype into a fully authorized production plan. Rather than launching a new high-performance model that would immediately trigger corporate vetoes, Pontiac quietly prepared to sell the most powerful mid-size car in America as a simple checklist item on a dealer order form. To sell a high-performance car without a racetrack to prove it, DeLorean needed a calculated branding maneuver. He looked to Europe, borrowing 3 letters from the iconic Ferrari 250, GTO. Short for Gran Turismo Omologato, the Italian term denoted a Grand Tourer officially certified for racing. By placing this label on the Le Mans, Pontiac layered an elite European racing pedigree directly onto a street-legal machine. The borrowed name provided immediate performance authority at a time when GM's ban kept the division locked out of official motorsport. It was a deliberate credibility device, suggesting track-ready status without ever entering a factory team. The car now carried a marketable racing legend along with its technical formula. To turn this engineering loophole into a market reality, Pontiac bypassed traditional corporate channels and targeted young buyers directly. Chief Marketing Manager Jim Wangers, a former drag racer, collaborated with the advertising agency McManus, John and Adams to bypass GM's racing ban entirely. They focused the campaign on raw, accessible street power. Bold print ads positioned the GTO as a device for shrinking time and distance. This strategy translated a quiet backroom workaround into a highly desirable lifestyle. By focusing on stoplight performance rather than track victories, the marketing team made the corporate loophole tangible, turning a simple options checklist into the ultimate symbol of youth rebellion. Pontiac executives originally projected selling 5,000 GTO option packages for the entire model year. Instead, dealers flooded the division with more than 5,000 orders before a single car reached showroom floors. This sudden surge caught corporate headquarters completely off guard. By the end of 1964, total production reached 32,450 units, exceeding internal forecasts 6 times over. This massive wave of retail demand bypassed corporate committees entirely, forcing General Motors leadership to accept an unassailable commercial reality. Before senior executives could draft a veto, the market had validated DeLorean's strategy. The administrative loophole had successfully launched a performance era that Detroit could no longer ignore. By packaging a massive engine in a lightweight, intermediate body, Pontiac established a W template for selling speed. Within months, rival automakers scrambled to copy the formula. Oldsmobile released the 442, Chevrolet developed the Chevelle SS, and Ford introduced mid-size performance options. DeLorean's maneuver altered how Detroit designed and marketed cars. Instead of relying on expensive, low-volume racing machines, manufacturers realized they could generate profits by selling raw, street-legal performance straight off the showroom floor. The GTO had officially ignited a high-horsepower industry war that defined a generation of American driving. Today, the muscle car era stands as a monument to calculated defiance. The GTO proved that true innovation is rarely born in boardroom consensus, but in the margins of corporate restriction, a truth that still drives every boundary-pushing machine on the road today. Share your thoughts in the comments.